Well, good morning and welcome to today's daily devotion. New Year's Eve. Can you believe it's the last day of 2024? What does the Lord have in store for you and I this coming year? Only He knows. Let's get into this final devotion of the year. Today's devotion is called Three Rich Men, and the Bible readings are from Luke 12:16 to 21, Luke 16:19 to 31, and Luke 18:18 to 30. This is the story of three rich men. It could be that the references are all to the same person at different stages in his career, and we will take them as such. Three phases sum up the story of this individual: too much, too hard, too late. We see him as a young man, as a middle-aged man, and as a dead man. As a young man, he was rich, eager, and very likeable. Luke 18:18 to 30. We are told that Jesus looked at him and loved him. Mark 10:21. Of course, Jesus loves all people, but here was a special case, like that of Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, and like that of John, the disciple whom Jesus loved. The young man had everything. He was rich, he was respected, for like Nicodemus, he was a ruler of the Jews. He was religious and even claimed to have kept all of God's commandments. He was restive. He was aware that there was something lacking in his life, and he came to Jesus to find out what it was. He found out soon enough. You love your neighbour as yourself, do you? Well, prove it. Sell all you have and share it with the poor. You love God with all your heart, do you? Then prove it. Come and follow me to Calvary. The Lord was asking for too much. The young man turned away. The price was too high. Later in his life, he has a problem. Luke 12:16 to 21. His fields had produced bumper crops. What was he to do with all of his goods? Help the poor? Not him. That would never have occurred to him. He was too hard. He would build bigger and better barns. That was his proposal. He would store the grain until prices went up in the winter, or until a drought year sent grain prices soaring. More. He would enjoy himself, he would have fun, and he would eat, drink, and be merry. The plight of the poor did not interest him. He had proved that already when, as a rich young ruler, he had come to Christ and claimed to have kept the commandments, only to be exposed to the fact that he had no real feeling for the poor and disadvantaged. By now, he was too hard. He had cultivated an attitude of total indifference to the poor, even to the poor fellow who haunted the gate of his mansion. Complacently, he settled down for the night, satisfied with himself. He composed himself to sleep. Little did he know what a fool he was. A voice rang out in the darkness. He would be dead before sunrise. This night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be? At the end of his life, we find him in a lost eternity. Luke 16:19 to 31. He had allowed a beggar to starve to death at his gate. Now he was dead himself. He was in hell, and he was very much still alive. He could see and hear and feel. He could reason and remember. Moreover, he was in torment. He tried to pray. He begged for some alleviation of his sufferings, but his request was denied. It was too late. Praying time was over. There was an easy access to God on earth, but no access at all in hell. There was a great gulf fixed. He wanted to preach. I have 5 brothers, he said. Send Lazarus to them. They know Lazarus. They passed him often enough by my gate when they came to my house. His request was denied. They have Moses and the prophets, he was told. They have the Bible. But they don't believe it, and they won't read it, the man cried. But they would believe a man risen from the dead. If they will not believe the Bible, neither will they believe if one were to be raised from the dead, he was told. And that was that. It was too late. Interestingly enough, the next man Jesus raised from the dead was a man called Lazarus, John chapter 11. So stubborn was the unbelief of the Jewish leaders that they actually tried to put Lazarus back to death, John 12:10. The Lord was right. Though one arose from the dead, they would not believe. That remains true to this day. One of the best documented and best proved facts of history is the resurrection of Christ from the dead. Hundreds saw him. His resurrection was public knowledge. The testimony of the four Gospels would be accepted as true in any court of law if put to the test using the same laws of evidence used in our courts today. But will they believe? To this day, thousands reject or ignore the fact that Jesus arose from the dead. How terribly sad that is. Never really thought about the link in Luke's Gospel between the rich young ruler and the parable of the rich farmer and the story of Lazarus. Such an interesting link and such a powerful reminder that actually all the things we have on earth don't count for anything. We need Jesus, we need salvation, and we need to live out our lives in a way which brings honour to God. Showing love, showing compassion, being moved with compassion to meet the needs of those around us. As we're perched on the brink of a brand new year, may the Lord fill our hearts with all those things, and may we seek to be his hands and feet in 2025. God bless you today and also in the coming year, and see you tomorrow for another devotion.